welcome back to our Summer Family Devotional series. Throughout the summer, we've been looking at the life and the ministry of Jesus. So far, we've seen He is the promised Savior, He is the King above all kings, and how powerful He has demonstrated His glory. Today, we're going to look at Jesus' compassion for the lost, and we're going to remind ourselves of His mission. We're going to be in Luke chapter 19, where we read about the story of Jesus' interaction with Zacchaeus. So go ahead and turn to Luke 19, verses 1 through 10, and read that together as a family. Alright, so when we read this story, this familiar story of Jesus and Zacchaeus, there are a few things I want you to notice. First is who Zacchaeus was. He was a tax collector, which meant that all of the people hated him. Why would the people hate a tax collector? Well, you see, when they would go from house to house to collect taxes for the government, they would say that they needed more money than was actually due. So Zacchaeus would steal from people in order to buy nice things for his house and to buy a nice house. It says he was the chief tax collector and he was rich. So people knew that he had been stealing from them in order to buy a nice house, in order to live in a nice place. So Zacchaeus was seeking Jesus though. He had heard who Jesus was. He had heard about this man who was going around teaching and healing and forgiving sins, and he wanted to know who this was. But unfortunately, Zacchaeus, it says that he was small in stature, which is just a nice way of saying Zacchaeus was very short. Because he was short, he had to climb up into a tree in order to see over the crowds to see Jesus. When he got up into the tree, Jesus saw him and said in verse 5, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." Now we read that normally, and nothing stands out to us. But if you were in the crowd that day, or you had been following Jesus for any time, that would have been crazy to you. For Jesus, a religious man who is teaching the Bible, is teaching how to live a moral life, how to be saved and forgiven, is about to eat at the house of somebody who is a sinner, somebody who is hated, somebody who lied and cheated and stole. We see the response of the crowd in verse 7. He says, "When they saw it, they all grumbled. He has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner." But Jesus had compassion on Zacchaeus. He loved Zacchaeus. He urged him to come down from the tree. He urged him to invite him over to eat. And Zacchaeus, because of that, was transformed. In verse 8, we see, "And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, 'Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold.'" So Jesus sought after Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus responded by transforming his life, by promising to be honest, to give back what he stole. What is Jesus' response to that? In verse 9 he says, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham." So Jesus sought after Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus sought after Jesus. Zacchaeus prepared to change his life, and Jesus declared salvation. Finally, in verse 10, we have a reminder of the mission of Jesus. The Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Jesus' purpose on earth was not just to do cool miracles, was not just to heal diseases and the sick, was not just to teach a lot. But Jesus' mission was to come down and save those who were lost, to provide salvation and forgiveness for those who needed it. How will you respond today to the mission of Jesus? If you are watching this and you've never accepted Jesus' salvation, I urge you to do so today. And if you have accepted Jesus' salvation, I urge you to continue in His mission. On the next slide, there are some discussion questions to talk through together as a family. So go ahead and pause the video and discuss those together. Well, this week I hope you were encouraged by Jesus' mission to seek and to save the lost. And I hope that we were reminded of who Jesus is and what He has come to do. On the next slide, there are some prayer suggestions for you to pray together as a family. Go ahead and pause the video now and do that together. And we will see you next week as we look at how Jesus washed the feet of His disciples before He headed to the cross.